Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Isabel Wong.
And I'm Harminder Singh. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. Those who maltreat animals are warned. Stop or be prepared for long jail term and stiff fine.
Kim Jong-un tells Vladimir Putin that Washington is acting in bad faith on denuclearization.
And suspected leader of Sri Lanka bomb attacks among those killed as death toll is revised downwards.
The government is cracking down on animal abusers with a proposed new law that adds bite to the current regulation, which rights groups claim is toothless.
Offenders face up to 10 years in jail and a fine of $2 million, penalties that are considerably higher than the current ones. Yupina Ng reports.
For years, advocates of animal rights have pressed for tougher protection laws. Their calls have been answered with the government today unveiling a plan to revamp and give more teeth to the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Ordinance. Under the proposal, those who abuse animals face a jail term of up to 10 years, sharply higher than the current maximum of 3 years. Fines jump up 10 times to $2 million. If the plan goes ahead, the court could also ban offenders from keeping pets permanently. Food and Health Secretary Sophia Chan launched a 3-month public consultation.
The objective of amending the law or this public consultation is really to strengthen our existing law in terms of increasing or the awareness of animal welfare among the public. On the one hand, we want to strengthen, the duty of care, but on the other hand, we also will review the penalty, the existing penalty. As well as strengthen the education.
The Agriculture, Fisheries and Conservation Department said under the proposed law, pet owners would be legally obliged to provide welfare needs for animals.
Example is a suitable diet, and if the dog needs exercise, the owner have to take the dog to exercise. If the animal are sick, they need to take it to the vet for treatment.
The department will enforce the law based on reports and complaints filed by the public. Officers will also regularly inspect pet shops. Yupina Ng, HKIBC.
Causeway Bay bookseller Lam Wing Kee has left Hong Kong for Taiwan for good because he fears extradition to the mainland. Hong Kong First Legislator Claudia Mo posted on social media this afternoon a photo of herself and Lam at the airport departure hall. Under the hashtag self-exile, Mo wrote that Lam was headed to Taiwan because of extradition fears. She did not say when the picture was taken, but media reports suggest Lam left Hong Kong yesterday. He was abducted by mainland agents in 2015, but managed to escape a year later. Lam has expressed concern that amendments to Hong Kong's extradition law may make him vulnerable. His 4 colleagues went missing 4 years ago before resurfacing in China.
There's a new plan to solve Hong Kong's doctor shortage, and the president of the Medical Association expects it to be approved.
The new proposal sharply reduces the time overseas doctors need to gain clinical experiences locally before they are granted licenses. Here's Yupina Ng.
Hong Kong is short of doctors amid rising demand for medical services. One option is to bring in foreign-trained doctors, but this is easier said than done. After meeting government officials last night, the Medical Association came up with a new plan that will exempt overseas-trained doctors from having to complete an internship. Instead, they will be required to gain 18 months of clinical experience at the Hospital Authority, Hong Kong's 2 medical schools, or the Department of Health before they are granted licenses. The Medical Council will vote on the plan early next month. Speaking on radio program this morning, Medical Association President Ho Chung-ping revealed that he has secured enough votes for the proposal. The local clinical experience foreign-trained doctors have to attain in the new proposal is a huge reduction. The association earlier wanted them to notch up between 18 months and 4 years of clinical experience, depending on where they work here. That plan was slammed by the medical schools, the health department, and Chief Executive Carrie Lam because of the unequal treatment. But Ho insists his change of plan was not politically motivated. Yupinam, HKIBC.
Turning overseas, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has accused the US of acting in bad faith during denuclearization talks in Hanoi in February.
Meanwhile, after meeting Russian President Vladimir Putin yesterday, Kim left the Russian port city of Vladivostok today. North Korea is continuing to blame the U.S. for the failed summit in Hanoi between leader Kim Jong-un and President Donald Trump in February. According to the Korean Central News Agency, Kim accused the U.S. of acting in bad faith during the summit. He added that peace on the Korean peninsula depended on Washington. During his meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin yesterday, Kim reportedly told his hosts that the situation on the Korean peninsula and the region is now at a standstill and has reached a critical point. The comments are the latest from Pyongyang, accusing the U.S. of thwarting denuclearization talks. During yesterday's meeting, Putin suggested the revival of the six-party talks to break the stalemate. Meanwhile, on his way to Vladivostok's rail station, Kim attended a wreath-laying ceremony at a war memorial near the headquarters of the Russian Navy's Pacific Fleet. During his trips around the city, it was noticed that Kim was traveling in Mercedes limousines. A spokeswoman for Daimler, the German-based maker of the vehicles, said it had absolutely no idea how the luxury cars ended up in North Korea. Luxury goods sales in the hermit state are banned under UN sanctions. Kim left the Russian port city in his armored train 5 hours earlier than expected. No reason was given for the early departure.
The suspected mastermind of the Easter Sunday carnage in Sri Lanka was killed in the attacks, according to the country's president.
A manhunt has been stepped up for suspects still at